What's up, y'all? This is Tom, and this is Like a Math Class. In this video, we're going to talk about the elusive point-slope form. This is the form of a linear equation that all your math teachers like, but that you never understand why do people like this form so much? Why can't I just use the slope-intercept form? We're going to check out what the point-slope form means, and let's get to it. Before we get to the point-slope form, let's talk about some of the things that we need to make sure that we have a firm understanding about in terms of linear equations. The first thing being, or the slope in general, is a relationship between 2 points. And typically we find the slope using this equation, where we've got 2 points. We've got one point being x1 and y1, and another point being x2 and y2. So this just means that we've got 2 separate points that we're indicating, and we're going to find the slope, or the rise and the run, the change in y over the change in x. How far have we gone up from one point of our y to our other point, and how far have we gone back and forth between our x's? That's our slope. An equation is just simply a mathematical representation relating 2 variables together. And all of our equations always contain placeholders for the 2 variables. So for every equation that you have, you're always going to see it in terms of y and x. So that's what it means when we're saying we're relating 2 variables and that there are placeholders for these 2 variables. Now, why do math teachers like this equation so much? Well, if you notice, let me move this out of the way here for our slope, our change in y and our change in x. If you notice, if I wanted to rearrange this a little bit, and I simply wanted to multiply both sides by the change in x, x2 minus x1, to both sides of the equation, what ends up happening is this side, these things cancel out, and we're left with y2 minus y1 is equal to x2 minus x1 times n. Hey, what do you know? This here is the same exact thing as this here. And because we're creating an equation, we've got 2 points or 2 values that we leave as placeholders. So, and then this here is our slope that we've already found, or that we know, and this here is one of our points. This is our point x1 and y1. So the point-slope form simply says you need the slope and you need a point. And the reason that math teachers like this so much is because it's simply just rearranged from this. And as you get to know more of the equations, as you know the slope-intercept form, as you know the point-slope form, and maybe even as you know the standard form, all of these things become more tools in your toolbox that you can use when you've got a different scenario put in front of you. Yes, you can always use the same equation over and over again, but there's an efficiency that, as you know more information, there's an efficiency to your work that you can do, or that you can have, and that's why we try and educate you more on the different types and the different forms that you'll see. So these are our placeholders here, this y and this x right here. So we have our point that we're going to substitute in, we've got our placeholders, and we have our slope. So once we work through this in an example down below, we'll see how does this all play out. So let's start with this right here. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point -1, 3, and has a slope of 5? Now, you could, of course, do this with the slope-intercept form, but we're not going to. We're going to use the point-slope form because that's what this video is all about. So our point, our x1 and our y1, that's this -1, 3. So there's our x1 and our y1. And our slope is 5. So if we have this equation here, we're just simply going to drop those values straight in there. Y minus y1, which is 3. And that's going to equal m, which is 5, times x minus x1, times x minus x1, which is a -1. So now all we have to do is simplify these numbers. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a +1, and I'm going to multiply my 5 across there. So y minus 3 is equal to 5 times x plus 1. So we have y minus 3 is equal to 5x plus 5. And then we will simply add 3 to both sides. So y is equal to 5x plus 8. Now this is the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, right? So you're probably saying, well, if we're just going to put it in slope-intercept form, why don't we use that form to begin with? Because it's a little bit easier to calculate it this way. And in some cases, maybe you're looking at an exam and someone says, or your teacher says, or the examiner or whoever says, put it in point slope form. Then you have to know, okay, I need to stop right here. This is our point slope form. So we could leave it here, or we could put it into slope-intercept form with the green. All right, so what happens if we have to start from scratch? That's what this question is going to say right here. But before we get to this question, I'm going to ask you to hit the like button, get that algorithm working, and then I'm going to say, work through this on your own. Find the slope and use use the point slope form to find this equation. And we will continue that in the next video. I'll see you there.